if there was anyone that was going to take over from where Patrick left off,
I know.
I mean, Peter brings that same charm and voice to that character.
And I think adds some really interesting new dimensions, you know? I mean, much like Ben not wanting to do the same thing, I think he found some new angles for the Tick that, you know, aren't better or worse than what Patrick did, because I think Patrick's performance was perfect. And I think Townsend Coleman on the cartoon show was perfect. But Peter really wanted to make sure he found his own kind of way into it. And I think it's simultaneously a scarier Tick than we've gotten before. I think there's a real kind of danger to the level of power he has versus the level of awareness he has. You know, he's kind of a bull in a china shop. But also there's a real sensitivity to him. You know, there's a real sweetness to him. I think there's this very childlike quality to him that I find very endearing and very kind of aspirational for just how well-intentioned he is, you know, how pure he is in his emotions and his feelings and all of that.
I mean, that's if we're not existing in a Tyler Durden universe in the first place. Right.
But yeah, you know, I mean, these characters are, whether literally or not, kind of yin and yangs of each other. You know, at the time that we meet them, neither one of them really seems to understand how to function on a day-to-day basis. But when they work together, you know, there's some growing pains there, but they start to figure out how to make it through the world together as a unit better than they ever could separately. And I got cast about a month or so before Peter did. They had a hard time finding a Tick because it's such a specific strike zone. You have to find someone with really strong comedic chops, but also a very specific kind of comedic voice, who also is 6'5" and is physically believable in superhero fight scenes. There's not too many people who fall into that. And I think, you know, it was sort of like, who are they going to get for this? Are they going to get some low-level wrestler? Like, they're going to have such a hard time finding
John Cena.
Anyone. Yeah, no, you know, I mean, who I think is a great actor, but it was just a question of, like, are they going to be able to find someone who fits this role well? And the second I heard Peter's name, I went, oh, my God. It was so obvious and so exciting at the same time. You know, it was like, of course, that's exactly who should play the Tick. And I never thought of it. It doesn't feel like such a gimme that it's not interesting to watch. And I think he brings a real kind of interesting edge to it. But it was a massive relief when he joined the project.
And has it been fun to work with him?
Yeah, it's the best. He, you know, it's the most sort of collaborative relationship I've ever had with another actor, which I think we early on realized it needed to be, because it really is kind of a duo act. I mean, Tick and Arthur are a comedy team. And even though this show has sort of more emotional grounding to them, if they don't have that certain pitch, if they're not harmonizing in that certain way that the fans recognize and hear, okay, that's the Tick and Arthur. That's what it sounds like when the Tick and Arthur speak. Not because they have the exact same voices that the other guys who have played them before have, but because the banter has the right sort of energy and flow to it and rhythm to it and all of that. And we just, I think, are both kind of obsessive people with very similar reference bases in terms of what we like and what we find funny and how we like to work, and just sort of immediately got into the dirt together and started digging and going like, okay, let's figure out how we can both make something together that's greater than the sum of its parts.
And you've got 12 episodes in the can. You must already be thinking about what are we going to do next, hoping that we've got a second series on the way.
Yeah, I'd love to sleep for a little bit first. I'm really looking forward to getting some sleep. We pretty much went straight from finishing episode 12 to embarking on the press tour.
Wow, was that recently?
Yeah. We wrapped on a Friday, and Comic-Con was that following Thursday. So I was on a plane that Wednesday, you know?
Wow.
So it's like I've been processing the whole experience of making the show while being on the clock talking about the show. But it does, you know, I feel like there's so much we still can do. I mean, you know, every previous version of the Tick has started at a place where the Tick and Arthur are kind of already fully formed. And this is more of an origin story in that I think by the end of the season, the arc of the season, we grow more and more into those characters. Certainly as actors, I think we felt more and more comfortable with them as we continue to be able to keep working on them. But also the characters as written more fully embody the sort of classic roles that they've had before. So it feels like, oh man, now we've sort of set up this, we've paved our road fully, and now it kind of feels like we could go anywhere with it. So I don't even have like a laundry list of like, oh man, season 2, I want to get to do this, I want to get to do that. What's exciting to me is I feel like we could do anything. You know, you could bring any of the classic villains back. You could, you know, send us into space. You could send us to Italy. You could send us underground. You know, it's all kind of thrilling to me, the possibilities.
Well, can't wait for everyone to see the 12 episodes later this month. I'm only a few episodes in, so
it's 6 this month, and the remaining 6 come out in 2018. So it's
right.
2 batches. We got a nice cliffhanger at the end of episode 6. We'll keep you on that cliff hanging for a couple months, and then we'll come back with more.
Well, I can't wait for everyone to sing into the first 6 episodes of the series later this month. And, well, you might just have to come back in 2018 to promote the next 6.
Happily. As long as I can get a nap in first, I'll happily do it. Yeah,
Sounds like that's going to be the struggle for you.
Yeah, that's my big negotiation point for season 2. Can I have a nap?
Is there appropriate nap time?
May I please take one nap?
Some actors on a set will often get to take naps. It feels like your character wants so many naps.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I've always been a very nap-based actor. It's been a cornerstone of my artistic process as an actor. And, you know, it's the downside to getting to be a lead or a co-lead of a show is not much time for naps. They want you in front of that camera a lot. So, yeah, gotta find your naps when you can get them, you know, when you can steal them. Yeah.
Well, enjoy the rest of your time here in
Thank you very
Australia,
much.
And thank you so much
Pleasure
for your time.
talking to you. Yeah.